Hello, good evening. It's time for Business 101 with me, Emmanuel Abwaji Riafe, and also still live on the Big Bulletin. Tonight on Business 101, my guest is Isabella Nana Echa Asante, CEO of Isabella Healthcare Services, and she's accompanied by Terry Manti, an executive member of the Kadodo Africa team. And the Africa Continental Free Trade Area was established to create a single market for goods and services among African countries and boost intra-African trade, among other ideals. However, many small-scale businesses are yet to take advantage of the free trade area in order to do business. This is because active efforts have not been made to help these businesses exploit the full benefits of the AFCFTA. The Association of Ghana Industries, the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Africa Union Department of Trade and Industry have seen this gap and have come up with a solution, the Kadodo Africa Initiative. The initiative helps profile and authenticate businesses to promote trading online, giving meaning to the AFCFTA. These businesses go through a rigorous verification process by officials of Kadodo to ensure that all information given out is accurate and all certifications complete and up to date. Tonight, our guest, a business owner who has been through this verification and authentication process, will share her experiences with us shortly. Right, so my guest tonight is Isabella Nana Echa-Asante, Chief Executive Officer of Isabella Healthcare Services. And like I said, we also have Terry Manti. He's an author, business development and communications consultant, corporate trainer, and an executive member of the Kadodo Africa Initiative. Terry, good evening. Madam, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good to have you all in the studio here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes. So let me begin with you, Terry. Once again, you're here and we're talking about Kadodo.
Yes.
Yes. So exactly what does Kadodo do to businesses?
So Kadodo is an authentication and verification platform. So what we do is that we verify businesses, we authenticate them and make them trustworthy for the transactions they deal in. But our main goal is that businesses will be able to digitalize, because we are in a digital economy.
Right.
African Continental Free Trade Area has been in effect since January of last year. And so we believe that the Kadodo platform, if we are able to authenticate and verify Ghanaian and African businesses, they will be appropriately positioned to take advantage of the benefit of the AFTA.
So you're talking about verification. Along which lines? I mean, and what are the benchmarks that you verify?
Yes. So what happens is that Africa is known as one of the places where a lot of fraudulent online deals take place. And so
It's everywhere.
It's
Not only
everywhere.
Africa.
It's everywhere, but when you go online, some countries are blacklisted. Ghana, for instance, we are blacklisted for using certain international payment systems like PayPal and the rest. We can't use it because of fraud and all that, because apparently they don't trust us to be genuine.
Okay.
But what we do with Kadodo is that, so what we normally do is that people make claims online and they say, oh, we produce this, we do that. And sometimes they are able to romanticize unsuspecting people. They win their trust. They are able to, they send money for products.
Yeah.
And then after the money comes,
Nothing.
they disappear. Right. You don't hear from them again. So what Kadodo is doing is to be able to fill that gap and to manage that situation where if somebody says, I produce water, or I produce clothes, or I produce shea butter, or whatever they produce, we can go in and check, verify it to be sure that what the claims they are making are accurate and it's really true. So once a business is verified and authenticated on the Kadodo platform, anybody who goes to the platform and sees that business will be assured that this is a credible business they are dealing with.
Right. So we'll come back to ask you more about how you took, Isabella Healthcare Services through this process.
Yes.
But I want to come back to the main woman on board tonight.
Yes.
And Isabella, I understand you have a 26-year worth of experience as a registered nurse. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Okay, so as a nurse for 26 years, I trained and I worked in the U.S. Some point, let me go back. I left Ghana in 1979, came back for the first time in 94, fell in love with the place, knew I wanted to eventually settle down, in Ghana. So with my nursing background, each time that I would visit, I would want to understand the healthcare system and see how I can position myself as a nurse with my nursing background to do something in Ghana.
Okay.
What I did notice, and I appreciated that, I worked in some of the best hospitals in New York.
Which of them to be specific?
I worked New York.
I know a couple of them in the Bronx.
In the Bronx. Okay, I worked at Albert Einstein.
Okay.
In the Bronx,
right.
yes.
Okay.
I've worked in New York Presbyterian, Columbia Presbyterian, Vassar.
Lincoln Hospital?
No, never Lincoln.
Not St. Barnabas?
Not St. Barnabas.
Okay.
No, the only Bronx hospital was Albert Einstein.
Okay.
So I had access to some of the best things, products, work environments, and I believe that as a people, we also deserve the same.
Right. What are the basic differences in the healthcare delivery over there in New York and here?
I think the main thing, aside the obvious, which is the money, working conditions are different, and then the system forces us to be more patient-centered. I say it forces us because there's a lot of accountability, there's expectations, the patients know their rights coming in, so they know what to expect. Healthcare in the U.S. is a competitive environment. It's run as a business, so the hospitals have to compete.
Right.
They compete on the quality of their nursing care. They compete on the type of foods they serve their patients, the quality of the doctors. So it forces the system to be better.
Right.
So I think that's some of the main differences that I have noticed.
Now, let's talk about Isabella Healthcare Services right here in Ghana. What do you do? What do you offer your clients?
Okay, so Isabella Healthcare Services, right now we deal in surgical packs and drapes.
Okay.
When I say surgical packs, I mean when somebody goes into surgery, oftentimes you'll see the nurses and the doctors in gowns.
Right.
You'll see that there's some material covering the patient.
Yeah.
The same material will cover the tables and those type of things. So that's what
They are
Isabella-
disposables, right?
What we do is disposables.
Okay.
Whoever goes into surgery, you need sterile drapes and gowns.
Exactly.
What the Ghanaian system was doing for the most part was using reusable fabric, like what you're wearing, any material. They'll cut it and then they'll make it into the drapes and gowns. They wash it, they sterilize it.
Exactly.
2016, I came to Ghana looking for opportunities. Somebody introduced me to a doctor. At the time, Doomsaw was at its height.
Okay.
So if a machine breaks down, if there's no electricity, obviously you can't wash the drapes, you can't wash the gowns. So he was desperate and asked if I could supply them pre-packaged disposable packs. I was horrified because I came from an environment that was never an issue. So I did start to bring it in from the US. But at some point, I mean, as much as it was the quality product, the pricing was too much for Ghanaians. I don't believe in having something good when only a few people can afford it. So luckily for me, I was able to find a manufacturer.
In Ghana here?
Not in Ghana, unfortunately. We will be getting into manufacturing.
We need to.
We will definitely be doing. Isabella will be on the map for manufacturing.
Okay.
But I was able to find a manufacturer in China who could give me the same quality items that I was used to working with, because I refused to downgrade. I don't know if anybody's familiar. If you go to China, they have the African, this is what African people like.
Exactly.
No, because you can get the same quality at a price that's affordable to Ghanaians. So anybody who knows the Isabella brand does know that we do stand for quality. When we came in, a lot of people weren't using it. And of course, when you talk disposable, the first thing that comes to mind is that, it's gonna be more expensive. So it required a lot of groundwork. I traveled across the country. I've been to Tamale, I've been to Ho, I've been to Sunyane, just to meet doctors one-on-one. And not just the doctors, but the decision makers. We deal a lot with government hospitals. And as we all know, you have to go through procurement.
Yes.
The clinician may want the product, but the decision maker oftentimes is the administrator.
Okay.
So we had to not only meet the doctors to introduce them to our products, to give samples, to make them work with the product and see that what we say it does.
Yeah.
Like what my man was just alluding to is what exactly that's exactly what it does. And then you had to also convince the administrators, the decision makers, that it does make
And
sense.
so generally, how has been the reception like? I mean, how do they accept your products?
Oh, definitely. From the clinician's point of view, they accept it because one, they understand that it's guaranteed, it's sterilized. All our things are FDA certified. Okay, so we've gone through the proper certifications. So it's packaged what they need. We can also work with the clinicians to customize because what a surgeon in Kolebu uses may not necessarily be the same thing that somebody in Konfanochi. So we can work with our clients to customize. You may have a La. What La can afford is not necessarily what UGMC can afford.
Yes.
So we can also customize based on the price point. So for the quality, for the pricing, for the convenience, and the safety, it's definitely catching on. And other people now are doing, packs.
So is it because of the payment, the mode of payment of the money? That's why you're currently dealing with the public sector hospitals alone, or you have other considerations for which you are waiting?
Like I said, I started in the public sector because that's where the doctor wanted the need. That's where the doctor approached me from. And of course, public sector is difficult to deal with, but they do have the largest numbers. A lot of our public sector clinicians also have their own practices or they work in different facilities. So if they buy in, it's easier for it to then trickle down because when they go to the next facility, they can say, I've worked with, and my things are branded. So Isabella Pack.
Isabella Pack.
Yes.
Okay.
So they know me as Packs, they know Isabella, so our brand is out there. So it's easy, I've used this before, and then before you know it, others are calling me, so-and-so said they've used your product, do you have A, B, C, D, and F?
So should I take it that there's no much competition then? Because
no, because now
Not
we're
too
getting
much.
competition. Ghana, once one person does something and you go to the first time I
know,
went to
right?
contract, it was just me. Now we go to contract, there are other people in the market. But me, I believe in competition. I think that it helps you to, if you believe in quality, it helps you to up your game. You can't just relax and say, Isabella entered the market, I'm Isabella Pax, and therefore it's always going to be about me. No. And then we're a country of 30-something million people. There's no way I can supply the whole company, let alone take advantage of after and Kadodo and everything that Kadodo has to offer.
Right.
So yes, I welcome competition. It just really helps me to also have.
So how long do you say you've been working? I mean, Isabella Health Services.
Isabella Healthcare, I think in earnest since 2017.
Okay, so 5 years.
5 years. So we deal in public hospitals. We have some privates, and now we're actually also getting a lot of distributors because now it's growing. So you have people who are calling and looking to buy from us and sell it to other facilities, which is perfect by me.
And how or where do you see your future? Let's say the next 5 years. You've already done 5 years. Next 5 years, where do you see Isabella?
The very thing that got me involved in the PACs is, unfortunately, it cuts across when it comes to medical supplies, medical devices. If you don't have packs, sometimes you don't have the needles, sometimes you don't have the gloves. I was telling Terry, my father was in the hospital last year. And even though he was in the hospital, he had to be fed through a tube. So I had to be the one running around looking for the tube. As somebody who's going through, it was traumatic. Because that's how he ate. I had a similar situation. I worked in Kolebu in 2007, 8. I had to give, even though I practiced nursing outside, most people may not know, if you come into Ghana to work as a nurse, you still have to go through a process. You have to take an exam. You have to work in a hospital. And I worked in Kolebu, and I had to administer insulin. Insulin, the needle used for insulin is different from a regular ml needle, 2 different things. And when I drew it up, I realized that no, it was they didn't have the insulin syringe. I had to use another, the regular, It was way too much. Thankfully, I asked and I was corrected. But it just made me realize that how many people have had to eyeball insulin. Insulin is a deadly drug. So the problem, even though it made me enter the market with a surgical packs, exists across board. So we want to take away that pain. We want to make it easier for people to get access to their medical supplies at affordable rate, and also when they need it. So we want to just expand and become everything that you need for your medical care without that headache of running around and trying to look for it.
I believe beyond Ghana, the shores of Ghana, eventually.
Most definitely, because we're going into manufacturing.
Sure,
So before you know it, we're going to be doing Isabella manufacturing. So definitely with our supply, the supply business, the manufacturing. I'm also very heavy into education, into health education.
So can I conclude that, the foreign exchange rate is the biggest challenge? If not, what is your biggest challenge?
Oh my God. Right now is the my biggest challenge is getting paid through the government institutions, getting paid on time. And then when you don't get paid and the city's running away, then do the math. I mean, I can honestly say that with my last shipment, I ended up paying over $50,000 more than I was supposed to pay because the city, they didn't pay me on time. I delayed paying my suppliers, and then the city depreciated. So the payment system and the city depreciation is, I would say, is my biggest challenge at this moment.
And how do you hope to overcome it?
Chasing after people.
It's difficult, I know.
I threatened two of the hospitals to give me a bed. That they might as well I don't care about no bed syndrome. They should find me a bed because we're going to be sleeping until they pay me. So just pounding the pavement and also being creative, on the serious side, just not depending only on the government and finding creative ways of get multiple revenue streams. So you're not just dependent on one source of income. If this one is locked up, at least you're paying, people are buying, on a daily basis and paying cash for it so that you have cash flow. One of the biggest challenges for us is that we have dreams, we have visions, we want to grow. So finding access to capital to help us scale up and do all the things that we need to do is also a little challenging, but I do believe we can position ourselves.
We can. We're going to talk about your presence with Kadodo, but before then, I hear you founded the breast cancer support group, the Embrace Society. How did it come by that?
Embrace is like, somebody asked me, what is Embrace to you? Embrace is like my baby. Embrace, because it's a breast cancer support foundation. I went through breast cancer a couple of years ago, and I had the most amazing support in terms of financial knowledge, support to make all the right choices for me. I had support systems, family, strangers, prayers, everything. So when I moved back to Ghana, I just wanted to understand what the experience for Black Ghanaian women who've been diagnosed with breast cancer, what their experience is like. Unfortunately, for the most part, it's not the same. My cancer came very early because I was doing my mammograms on time. A lot of Ghanaian women don't have access to mammography. They don't even know what it is. So Embrace is to partner with the groups that are out there who are bringing awareness about breast cancer and its devastation in our society, but then also embracing the women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer and just helping them navigate through the system, whether it's, most times when you say, right away people think it was about money. For a lot of women, it's not even just the money. It's just, what do I eat? I'm going into surgery. What am I gonna look like when I come out? So
you need some assurance.
Just some assurance, and also just getting them to see people, not just me, people in Ghana who've been diagnosed with breast cancer and who are doing extremely well because they had the right support system. They were diagnosed early. So that's what Embrace, my baby, hopes to do.
That's a good baby, though.
Thank you.
And I hear you also chair the board of the Nurses and Midwifery Council of Ghana. How do you juggle in between all these?
I think because I enjoy every single one of them. I enjoyed, each one brings a different challenge. Not even challenge. It brings fulfillment. Each one gives me purpose. I think Terry asked me about nursing, and am I an entrepreneur? Am I a nurse? I'm both. I'm a nurse entrepreneur. I was a nurse before I came to become an entrepreneur, and it's my nursing background. I believe that's made me a great at what I'm doing because I understand what I'm doing. So, Nurses and Midwifery Council, what I pray and we are doing, and we hope to do more, is to help to build up the confidence of the nurses in Ghana, to empower them. Yes, it's challenging. I mean, financially, I'm not even going to go there, but it's also a very rewarding profession. So just to get people to see the worth of nurses in general. We always are the largest staff members in any healthcare facility. I always say the doctor is as good as his nurse. If you have a good doctor and a bad nurse, your outcome will be poor. If you have a bad doctor and a good nurse, your outcome will be good because everything has to come through the nurse. So we want nurses to appreciate their worth and get them to walk and work with their heads upright and then get the public support. So when we do go to the bargaining table and we say, listen, we need this, we deserve this.
You have a strong
we have
bargaining
a strong
power.
bargaining power,
Right,
yes, because we have the support of the Ghanaian women behind us.
Sure. So you are taking advantage, of the continental free trade area. And how did you come to associate yourself with Kadodo, and how has it been of help so far?
Well, a friend of mine mentioned Kadodo. Honestly, initially I didn't even know what it was or what it stood for, but I did, having a vision beyond the shores of Ghana, and knowing that there's an avenue, there's an opportunity for me to work with people who know what they're doing, people who may not necessarily, and having people who don't know anything about me get the confidence to want to do business with me, because a platform like Kadodo has verified that yes, we do have an office. You can come off the Spintex Road near Dampon Pharmacy. You can come and find us. Yes, when I say that all my products have gone through the FDA certification process, that's a fact because they verified it. So yeah, that trust that comes along with being associated with it, especially because we are going to out of Ghana, is what has drawn me to it. And I just want to quickly, years ago, I went to an exhibition in Nigeria.
Okay.
Packed up my stuff, flew, I put everything so pretty. Afterwards, everyone came to me, oh, how do we get your stuff? I had no clue. I had none. I had nothing in place. So being involved with Kadodo now, when I go back in September to the same exhibition, I know that yes, when they do, when people do approach me, they can verify that yes, Isabella really does exist. So yes, an excellent, and it makes my life a lot easier.
But I'll come back for your last words. But Terry, what did you do to Isabella Healthcare Services? How did you verify that company?
Well, we went to her premises, and all the things she's talking about, we've seen them. We've seen them on her premises. So that's what we did. We've checked with FDA. Her certification is legitimate. I was going to say it's legit, but I'm on radio, so it's legitimate. So whatever she says, but then the advantage of Kadodo is that if you are dealing with a business that has to do multiple certifications and you come to Kadodo, you don't have to check everywhere because we would have done all of that for you already.
Okay, so on the same one, on just one platform.
On just one platform. So we've checked her out, and that's why she's here. That's why she's here.
So the information that you got, how are you going to help her business?
So one of the things we are doing with the platform is to help the local businesses and even African businesses build capacity. She talked about her interest to go into manufacturing, and these are some of the things we want to do. It's not everything I can say right now, but a big part of what we are doing is to build the capacity of African and local businesses to transcend the local market, to be able to do business across the borders. And it's something we are really working on in terms of how the systems and structures they have in place, how they build their network, how they relate with other partners and other stakeholders in other countries, how they deal with their distribution chain, their supply chain. These are all things that Kadodo is working on. Payment
so it's like it's an ongoing process.
It's an ongoing thing, and it's been worked on. But we already have the African Union Trade Commission, and we are constantly in touch with them. And so from time to time, when there are opportunities, we work through them to make that happen for our businesses.
Okay. Now, Isabella, are you open to investment opportunities from other parties when they come?
Oh, most definitely.
Or you wouldn't want anybody to interfere with?
Oh, no. Because we have big plans.
Okay.
We have big manufacturing is not an easy feat.
No.
So we're definitely interested in partners. We're interested in partnering up with Ghanaians. We're interested because we're proud to be Ghanaians, and we want to, I want people to believe that what I'm doing, what other Ghanaians are doing, they can also do. So definitely we need partners to make a manufacturing of medical supplies a reality in this country.
Wow. So finally, how can people interested in your products get access to you? Are you on social media?
We're on the Kadodo website.
Okay.
We're also on social media. We have a Facebook page, so definitely you can reach us through that.
Only Facebook.
Only Facebook.
Maybe you have to hire me.
I have to
manage.
I've been told, and I'm reluctantly going to it, but we can talk afterwards.
Right. So Terry, your final words before you go.
But my final words are always the same. KadodoAfrica.com, KADODO Africa.com, and businesses, people who are listening to us, who are entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter your size. It doesn't matter your size. So long as you are a business and you want to go places, Kadodo is a platform for them.
How many people are on Kadodo now? How many businesses?
At the moment, we have a number. I don't recall the number. What I know is that we have verified 50 businesses, but we have more than 50.
We'll be lining them up.
It's the 50 that we have verified, but I need to cross-check to know exactly how many have
right.
Really.
It's been great talking to both of you, Isabella Nana Echa Sante, CEO of Isabella Healthcare Services, and Terry Mante, Executive Member of the Kadodo Africa team. Good to come to our studios, and we hope to see you again another time. My name is Emmanuel Boajibiafe. It's been Business One-on-One. Back to Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Obajuafe, and your team for bringing us Business One-on-One on the Big Bulletin. And that's how we end the Big Bulletin here on Asaase Radio, our top story, youth of